What is going on, my peeps? Your man Versatile is back with another video. Back here to talk about the Tomorrow War, the Chris Pratt movie, Amazon Prime, that dropped on Amazon Prime. I don't know what I just said, but basically it's an Amazon Prime video movie starring Chris Pratt, and it's about the world basically coming to an end because of an alien species that is eating up everything, humans, the other animals. And the Tomorrow War is literally being transported from the present to the future to try to help stop these creatures and or help try to find or create some type of substance, toxin, weapon that they can use against these aliens. And so Chris Pratt finds himself in the middle of this, and there's a pretty interesting twist, I would say. I actually didn't have a problem with it, but one of the things I definitely saw from this movie, as we've seen from, if not TV shows as of recently, or even TV other movies, is that we are back in the time travel era again. You know, if you whether or not you want to consider Star Wars as part of a time travel era, Back to the Future, oh my goodness, I can't believe the name escapes me, but it's another one that came out around the same time as Back to the Future. The Runner, not Ghost Runner, or is it Ghost Runner? Some runner type game. You know, I think you know what I'm talking about. Looper came out way later, but unless that was a remake. But we're back in the time travel era because this is about traveling through time and trying to do stuff in the future so that way the present can be better, or that you can do in the present to avoid the future and all this type of stuff. So that's what we're about to get into. I have some interesting thoughts about this movie, but if you guys haven't already, I would greatly appreciate if you guys could ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that we never miss my videos. We can sit back, chillax, see what's cracking. And let me know down in the comment section below if you watched Tomorrow War. Were you interested? Did you like it? Do you plan on watching it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Now let's get into the video. And one of the first things I want to talk about is the actors' roles in the movie. Chris Pratt is the star, of course, has a family, wife and kid. He's trying to get another job, but he doesn't land the job, and he feels like his life has to have meaning. And that's when essentially he gets drafted to go to the Tomorrow War. And what I mean by actors' roles is Chris Pratt's role was good. His family's role was solid. J.K. Simmons is in this, and he plays his father, who has moments, but he's not always there throughout the movie. And I've heard some people say, like, if you have J.K. Simmons, you have to use him more than that. Nah. Here's why that doesn't work out. Because as strong as J.K. Simmons is, it will overshadow the story. Sometimes having the actor's presence alone can overshadow a story or overshadow the protagonist. And all of that can be okay. Not every big name actor has to play a big time role. I think the reason why we appreciate actors like a J.K. Simmons, like a Denzel, or like a Idris Elba, even, if you will, is because they're willing to take on roles that are not the center role. So when you're not the center role, you get to work on your acting from different angles, from different perspectives. And that's why we appreciate that actor that much more, because they're willing to take on a ton of different types of work and not always be the lead or the supporting lead. So from that perspective, that's why like Michael B. Jordan has been improving his acting. That's why we like J.K. Simmons. And I think this was a perfect role for J.K. Simmons, be the old Jack dad that was in the army, that struggled with PTSD, that translated into some trauma for Chris Pratt, who does not have a great relationship with him. And that's essentially the role that J.K. Simmons had in this. They had a couple other actors that played alongside Chris Pratt that went to war with him, and they likewise played their roles really well. They weren't overly there. There was some comedic relief. But I feel like the actors themselves did a good job of playing their role. And they don't always have to have a big role just because they're a big name actor. And I think that's why movies can still be good from that perspective. And I think along with the actor's roles, the movie itself, I found to be pretty good. It was, you know, relatively straightforward. It didn't have to be like this all out, you know, like the movie of the lifetime. Like, there's movies that have that set that precedent, that have build up to be like the movie of the lifetime. Then there's movies that should just be good, could be cool, like, oh yeah, that was cool, you know. Like, it doesn't have to be a bust. It doesn't have to be like, man, that movie was trash. And again, there are movies that are trash, but I feel like for a movie like this, Amazon did a great job with the alien design. Segue. They did a great job with the alien design, and they did a great job with the pacing, to where we wouldn't the movie just felt like a good movie. Like it was a cool movie you could watch, you can enjoy. You didn't have to do a lot of overthinking, and from that perspective, I feel like the movie was a success because again, it's on Amazon Prime, so it's not like you're really paying anything extra to go see it in the first place. And on top of that, it gives you some feels, but it gives you a ton of action and it's relatively fast paced. It doesn't take that long for them to get into the whole Tomorrow War aspect of it, being in the future fighting these dope looking aliens. By the way, the design of the aliens, amazing. They were like spiders and dogs and spear shooters, but they called them spikes. So they didn't even give us like a legitimate name for the creature. They just called them spikes because they shoot spikes out of their tails. And the more aggressive, harder or more difficult creature to take down is the female specimen, not even the male specimen. The males gather up like ants to protect the female. And I found that to be pretty interesting because pretty much the movie was centered around trying to figure out a way to take out the female. They found out a way to take out the male, but they didn't know how to take out the female. And so Chris is taking orders from this one girl in the future who's running the bio aspect of it, who's good in combat as well. And come to find out, that's his daughter in the future. Chris Pratt dies, and they tell him before he, basically jumps to the future that he dies basically 7 years from the current date. The current date in the movie is 2023. He dies in 2030. The cataclysmic event basically with these with these creatures, I believe they die, or this human species doesn't make it to like 2050 or something like that. Or that's when they actually pop up and then they basically go out within a couple of years trying to fight this war. So come to find out, he's fighting alongside, taking orders from his daughter. She lets him know that, he found no purpose in his life. Him and his wife started to separate, and then they got divorced. And then he died as she turned like 16 or something like that. So very traumatic. And, it hits him hard. He couldn't believe that he would do all that. But I think throughout the war and then meeting his future daughter, it gave him a new sense of purpose. And that's why they were able to fight alongside together, find this toxin. But now the challenge was to get it back to the present so that way they could actually avoid the future. And this is where I had a problem with the movie, with Chris Pratt's character, because he should know that his daughter's still alive in the past, or in the present, I guess you could say past, present, since he's in the future. So he's so concerned about trying to save his daughter that he essentially just met, because it is his future daughter. He's so overly concerned with trying to save her, but she lets him know like the whole point of this mission was to get this toxin to the past, present, so that way we could avoid this future altogether. But he's trying to save his future daughter too, which makes absolutely no sense. So he's like borderline obsessed with doing it. And I'm like, bro, do you not know your daughter's still alive? Like at the age of like 9? Like, just get back to the future, or get back to the present. She's right there. So that's where I kind of felt like they went a little too hard with him being a little too emotional, or just centered and focused on that, when really it's about trying to save everybody, which will then include saving your daughter and yourself. So that was one of the things I felt like kind of I felt like it was just a little bit too much, basically through the second half of the movie onward. And then this is where we get a dragging scene towards the end, because although the pacing was very well, it was towards the end of the movie where I felt like they were kind of dragging on just a little bit. One specific scene was when his daughter got spiked, and she's basically about to die because she's bleeding out. And he's sitting there, and it's like one of these long scenes, and she's like, "I'm sorry, Dad, I shouldn't have known." He's like, "Oh, it's okay, I'm gonna save you." And she's like, "No, you had to make it before the jumping thing destroys, and then you die here, and then we all die anyway." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna save you and take you with me or whatever." And then like the female, because basically she broke loose, and the males came through to destroy like the master center lab place where they were, and that was basically the last resort place. And they grab her, and she's about to get dragged into the water, and Chris Pratt is trying to dive into the water with her, even though he has the vials on him to save humanity. He's still trying to save his future daughter when his daughter's still alive in the past, present. And then of course the jumper jumps him back to the past, present, and he blacks out because of the jumping thing, like a lot of pressure on you. He wakes up, he's like, oh, where's the vials? They're like, you have it in your hand, you wouldn't give it to us. So they go to try to mass produce this stuff, which they kind of can't at the moment, because if not having the technology quite yet, they can't take it to the future. So that future is done, right? That future is now overran by all these species. So the best thing they can do now is make these vials and get ready for them. But the funny thing is, throughout the movie, they don't know how they originated until they start doing some research on this claw to figure out where could they find or locate it. And there's a reference from the beginning that proved true to the end of the movie about a volcano situation, and they pinpoint and narrow down where this alien spacecraft could be, where they could have landed. They make it to the spacecraft and come to find out that these things weren't even meant to come here. The Earth was a crash site for the alien species, because the alien species was actually traveling, trying to send these creatures somewhere else, and they crashed on Earth. So that's the type of unfortunate we had. And then they go to try to actually, take them out early, and of course that doesn't quite work the way they wanted to. Big battle at the end, and of course, it appears they come through. This is where I'm confused now. So overall, right, Tomorrow War, good movie. It was fun. It was cool. I liked it. High action. The confusion now is, how are they going to make a sequel? Now, of course, I got a couple theories. One theory is that the female either didn't die at the end, or there was another female that will then, breed, and we'll still have this problem anyways. And now it's more or less the present war, not the Tomorrow War. Or they're going to give us a movie that's maybe more focused on the Tomorrow War portion of how they got to and led up to the fact that they were able to create a male toxin and then create a female toxin, and then or it's going to be an origin story of where they were going in the first place, because I don't really know what the second movie could be about. Like that's the thing I'm a little weirded out by. And they were so quick to confirm a second one's in the works. I'm like, but what is it going to be about, the way y'all ended this? So from that perspective, sometimes you might jump on sequels a little too fast too, especially when you pretty much more or less put a nice bow on the end of the movie. So hopefully the second one doesn't hurt the first movie, but it will be interesting to see what happens with the second movie. So those are my thoughts overall. I liked the Tomorrow War. It's pretty interesting. I don't think every movie needs to be this whoop-la movie. Like, there's movies that could just be cool, you saw it, and then you move on from it. And I think this is one of those good movies that was even slightly better than that, especially since it, if not was grounded, it kept the rules of the world pretty simple and straightforward, and then you just kind of follow along for the ride. So the rest of the nuances and stuff like that, of course, if you guys watch it, you guys caught on to it. For the most part, I like most of it. So it was a cool movie overall. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about the Tomorrow War, and if you've seen it, or if you did see it, what did you think about it? Or if you have not seen it, why are you not seeing it? Comment section's open for discussion. But again, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that way you never miss my videos. Then we can sit back, chillax, see what's cracking. But your man Broso signing out until the next video. Wait for